How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're going to be checking out a video called Why Do Americans Dislike... We're going to find out why Europeans don't like Americans. Yeah, that's the name of the video. It's literally called Why Do Europeans Dislike Americans So Much? The original channel's by Nathaniel Drew. Make sure you go check that out down below. Hit like, hit subscribe while you're down there. And we're going to check this out. Probably because Americans are loud, right? We're loud, we're obnoxious. Maybe not we, as in myself, but I mean, I could be. Maybe you consider me loud and obnoxious, who knows? There's worse out there than me, though, trust me.
I'm asking questions about how Europeans see Americans.
I think it's a third world country with a lot of money. Very negative.
Very negative.
Yeah, I don't see anything positive about America.
I think they're a bit stupid. American TikTokers, they earn too much money with what they do. Like in Belgium, you have to work for money and they just make videos and that's it.
Oh my God. You know, I might be completely wrong about this, but I think it was a little bit cooler to be American when I was a kid.
Jeez.
I've lived in Europe for several years now, and look, I've romanticized this continent quite a bit. I really like living here, but there's a funny feeling that I cannot shake, and I think it has to do with how Europeans view Americans, or how Europeans view me when they discover that I'm American. And it's not entirely positive. This feeling has not gone away even though I've been here for a few years now. And it's not hatred, it's more like negative undertones, offhand comments or jokes that are made, and it makes me feel not very cool. And by the way, I recognize not all Europeans dislike Americans. That is a massive generalization.
But yeah, I've learned that over the years too. I mean, I haven't been in Europe or anything like that, but like watching a lot of videos, doing my channel, learning, you know, about the world a little bit more. Yeah, we're not that cool here, guys. That's, you know, one of the reasons why I would like to move to Europe myself.
Bringing this up because it's been enough of a trend for me to confidently talk about this as something that's really happening in the world. I don't think it's just in my head. It just seems like when it comes to Europeans' view of Americans, there's a lot to dislike. I don't necessarily entirely disagree. I have plenty of my own criticisms of the United States and the way of life over there. And I think that all places, all societies merit criticism. That's how we get better. So this applies to everyone. But there's something deeper going on here that I want to explore. On a personal level, my own identity as an American, but also the identity of Americans on the global stage. We don't live in a bubble, and it turns out the whole world has opinions about us. Now, I have my own theories about what's going on here, but I thought I'd get to the root of the matter and ask Europeans themselves.
Put your comments down below too, guys, but, you know, don't be mean. You know, just a healthy comment.
It makes me a little bit nervous talking to strangers, but I'm just gonna go for it.
Yeah, I don't like talking to strangers.
What are the stereotypes?
That's a good question. Bah moi, quand je pense aux Américains, je pense à la bouffe et tout.
Dans quel sens? Le fast-food?
Ouais,
Okay.
parce que McDo, ouais.
McDo.
Hamburger et tout.
Mais les Français adorent McDo.
Oui, oui. Bon, on était il y a 2 minutes.
Donc c'est pas forcément négatif, ça.
Non, non.
Okay.
Mais c'est l'image. Actually, I like Americans because they are like very chill. America is like so expensive for good food. Like for like fruits and all this fresh stuff, it's like so expensive.
J'ai deux visions un peu.
Okay.
J'ai la version où ils sont trop cool et tout, et la version vraiment le beauf américain.
Do you think the stereotypes about Americans are true?
Kind of. I have a classmate that is American, and we are talking like about our traditional foods, and the American was like, my typical food is hamburger, ice cream, like the McDonald's one, and we are like, oh, so McDonald's is your typical food? She was like, yeah, kind of.
Could I just take a couple minutes, ask
That's true for a lot of Americans, though.
questions? It's okay if you don't have time, it's fine. Okay, all good. Have a nice day. The Americans don't have time for me. That's kind of funny. Would you mind if I asked you a couple questions? Yeah.
That is funny. All these Europeans, they're chill. They want to talk. The American people is there. It's like, no, I don't have time. I don't. Yeah, that's funny.
Polarized. Yeah. More than the Netherlands.
Much more.
Feel younger people feel the same way or differently about Americans?
I think even stronger.
Even stronger?
I think they feel
Okay.
even stronger.
Yeah, the older people, I feel, maybe thinking of the World War II, World
Yeah.
War One, in which the Americans did a very good job
Yeah,
by helping, because Europe was not doing very well.
yeah.
Ils connaissent que ce qui se passe dans leur pays. j'ai
Ouais,
l'impression. Parce que,
Enfermés sur eux-mêmes.
Enfermés sur eux-mêmes.
C'est-à-dire que c'est pas contre eux, mais qu'ils s'intéressent pas trop aux autres pays.
They know.
That is true about a lot of Americans. You know, it's like, because the country's so big here, instead of other countries, you know, it's like we just go to other states. But yeah, yeah.
About their own country, but not about like other stuff in the world. They're overrated.
They're overrated. How? Like, they receive too much attention?
Yeah,
Yes.
too much hype
I don't necessarily disagree.
Too
on
much
the
hype.
internet.
Are you also German?
Yes.
And in Germany, you feel like German people have a positive view of Americans? Or
Not really.
no?
I think
Okay, so more negative.
Yeah, I think so.
Do you feel that there's been a
Jeez.
change at all in terms of how Americans are viewed, like in the last 10, 15 years?
I think so, yes. Especially due to the Trump and the Tea
Yeah.
Party things happening. It got more polarized, and that made it more negative in my view.
There's more that I'd like to say about why I
Go easy on us in the comment section, guys, which I know. Obviously, you guys like me wouldn't be watching my videos. But, yeah, and I know all this. I wouldn't necessarily disagree.
believe this dynamic is happening, why Europeans see Americans in this way. But before I do, I want to thank the sponsor of this video, which is BetterHelp. And look, therapy is a really powerful tool when it comes to anything and everything identity related. I absolutely love living abroad. I wouldn't exchange it for the world. But it has come with its own emotionally challenging situations, and it's been helpful to work with a therapist over the years. Loneliness, my own self-image, my self-worth, those are the kinds of things that I've been working at, developing a deeper understanding of over the years, thanks to therapy.
Take care of your health, guys. That's real. I'm actually getting ready to start talking to a therapist myself.
Is 100% online and designed to be convenient and flexible to adapt to your schedule and what works for you. You can message
cool.
your therapist at any time and schedule live sessions when it works for you. They give you access to a very large network of licensed therapists, and so if the therapist that you're working with doesn't work out, it isn't a good fit, you can switch to a new one at no additional charge. So if you're interested in checking
Very
it out,
cool.
you can get 10% off your first month if you sign up at betterhelp.com/NathanielDrew, and I'll leave that link in the description as well. It's one of the best ways.
There will be a link to the original video in the description section down below, so if you want to get his link for that, click the link down below, go to his original video, and then you'll find that link.
To support my work. Thank you, BetterHelp, for sponsoring this video. All right, time for me to share some of my own personal theories here. Here's why I think it was maybe a little bit cooler to be American in the past. I was born in the 90s, maybe like some of you. And back in the 90s, it's not like the United States, or the world for that matter, didn't have its problems. It definitely did. You're not going to get any of that classic nostalgic
Did that say it could turn your home computer into a bomb?
some of you. And back in the 90s, it's not like the United States, or the world for that matter, didn't have
No, that's
its problems. It definitely
right here. Hackers can turn your home computer into a bomb. Computer hackers have the ability to turn your home computer into a bomb and blow you to kingdom come, and they can do it anonymously from thousands of miles away. Okay, I don't think that actually happened. That's
You're
funny.
not going to get any of that classic nostalgic, those were the days kind of thing from me. But one thing I think we can all agree on is that back in the 90s, the internet had not yet completely taken over our lives like it has now. And in my
Right.
view, the internet feels like it's taken whatever problems already existed and made them bigger and louder. That might actually be what the internet is best at, the fast transmission of ideas and information,
Mosquitoes.
which in turn amplifies them. And there's another thing that the internet is really good at, which is that it is a canvas for less curated or filtered versions of that information or ideas. There are less gatekeepers, so anyone can say anything. My theory is that as time has gone on, and as the internet has played a bigger and bigger role in our lives, the world has been exposed to a less curated version of the United States. You know, you had movies and TV and pop music reaching the entire world, but it wasn't like it is today.
He's got a good point. Because like it is today, it's real people talking about real stuff, right? It's not necessarily like filtered, you know, the Hollywood versions, like he's saying, like movies, commercials, and stuff like that. Like you're seeing the real versions. I completely agree with that.
Social media and even the news reaching so many more people. Nowadays, it feels like you cannot escape the news about the mass shootings that are constantly happening in the U.S. or the insane election cycles. I think in some ways, the internet might have taken away some of our innocence, right? Some of our naivete. As a result, even more curated versions of culture, like the highly produced TV shows and movies, are reflecting the things that we're seeing. The unintelligent or simple American is a very believable archetype and not a new one. You've got at least one and often more than one character that perfectly fits that archetype in pretty much all American sitcoms, from Friends to How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
And there are plenty of shows that play off of this very intentionally. I think of South Park and Family Guy and The Simpsons. And internationally, the contrast is even more stark. And it might just be me, but it does feel like the perception of Americans is deteriorating. I mean, I'm thinking about shows like Emily in Paris or The White Lotus. The White Lotus in particular blew me away because it felt so believable and oftentimes in a very depressing way. Clearly, Americans are not
I haven't
known
seen
for
that.
being refined or in touch with reality. This is particularly true of wealthy Americans. And why wouldn't Europeans feel this way? We are famously terrible at learning foreign languages. To many, we're seen as living in our own giant bubble.
A lot of people beforehand used to think like the US was like very cool and this really lovely place to go to, but I feel like everyone just thinks it's dangerous and that they don't care about their citizens. There's all these shootings going on, like their healthcare is horrible, their schooling's horrible.
So there's been a change.
Yeah.
I think it's always been like that. I think there's a change now because like social media is like is making it more apparent.
America used to be, you know, like the American dream, like
Yeah.
used to be a big thing. Like gun crime was getting like publicized a lot more, so I think like the narrative is changing a little bit.
Je vois l'Amérique comme une grande puissance mondiale et je les vois comme des capitalistes. En fait, si tu as de l'argent, tu vis bien, mais si tu n'as pas d'argent, il n'y a personne pour t'aider. Marche ou crève.
In France, we say the Americans are big and fat, but I love America with the friends, the salary friends.
Donc, il y a des côtés positifs et des côtés négatifs.
Ouais, c'est ça.
D'accord.
Globalement, les gens pensent ça, mais en même temps, tout le monde va aller à New York et tout le monde va aller aux États-Unis.
Oui, d'accord, ok.
C'est ça en fait, ouais. Il y a des...
I haven't even been in New York.
Ils ont des préjugés, mais en même temps, c'est quand même un rêve d'y aller.
J'étais absolument ulcérée
horrified.
quand j'étais au pouvoir, de voir le comportement de cet homme. Ça donne pas envie d'aller forcément dans ces conditions-là. Le fait que les
And the
gens
people
soient
that
très,
live
très
here don't
armés,
want to be
j'ai
here, a lot of
l'impression
them.
que je me sentirais pas en sécurité.
Most people love Canadians.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so once you clarify you're a Canadian, they're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. We're like, oh, Canada. Where are you from in Canada?
For me, it's like a lot about the money. Like the times I went to New York, and it's like, you know, winners and losers, and you know, you gotta make it, and you gotta make loads of money, and la 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 la, and then like if you don't have money, you're like basically fucked. I would say extremes.
Extremes.
It's like an extreme, you know, country. Like very very rich, very very poor.
Right.
Eat very much, eat very, very, very healthy, like
Yeah.
extreme healthy, extreme,
Yeah.
like XXXL and McDonald's,
Yeah.
whatever.
Where are you from? Perfect. So I'm doing a video on Europeans' view of Americans.
Okay.
I don't know if you have
We're
any
not
opinions about that.
European.
So, okay.
Europe. No, we're not. We left the EU.
This is Europe.
Do you feel like it's a more positive or a negative view of Americans?
I'd say negative. I feel like there's a lot going on there that's just a bit backwards.
Yeah.
Like I feel like we need to move along.
Yeah.
The like, you know, all the abortion
She's like, we're not Europeans.
coming
Okay,
in
so politically.
and yeah, like all the gun crimes,
Yeah.
things like that. Like I imagine like most of the country is absolutely lovely, but there's some of the morals that are just a little bit off for me. So
Yeah.
I struggle with that.
Bit
I
off,
agree.
yeah.
But
But I do think you all like proper chatty and that, and you're really energetic.
Yeah.
So it's a positive thing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
But I
lovely
also
to
agree
meet
with that as well.
Proper chatty.
Lovely to meet Americans.
Yeah.
Love meeting Americans.
Okay, so why am I so interested in this topic? Well,
Yeah,
over the last few years,
why?
I have shared my journey moving abroad and looking for a home. Because that home is not the United States. I just don't feel connected to that country. Not as a home, even though I'm coming to realize that it did shape me in many ways. I'm just trying to find my place. But as I've said before, different people will treat you in different ways based off of how they perceive you. The first time I experienced this was during my high school exchange in France when I was 16 years old. Obama was president, and regardless of your personal political opinions or feelings, he was seen in generally positive light abroad. So in a weird way, even though I was not responsible for electing him, I wasn't even of age to vote.
I was born in the late 80s. I remember the 90s and what he's talking about before the internet was a whole thing. And yeah, people did have a different view about us. Or at least, I wasn't exposed to the whole entire world. There wasn't YouTube to where I could just get on there and learn about different countries and stuff and see other people's perspectives. So maybe I just was unaware, or maybe the whole world was unaware of, like, the true America.
It scored me some cool points. And then on top of it, 16-year-old French kids living in a small town in the west of France thought it was cool that I rode a yellow bus to school and that I had my own personal locker in the United States. So I was benefiting from all these things that I didn't
They don't have lockers
really
there?
control at all. Then I get to Argentina a few years later, and I see what it's like to be on the flip side, where the general sentiment was more negative. I'm generalizing here, but there's a bit of an anti-American streak in Argentina. I think this comes down to the image that the United States has of being a bit of a bully. I mean, Che Guevara is a bit of an anti-American, anti-capitalist symbol, right? So that was a very different experience, and now I'm back in Europe, and I've been here for a while, and the perception has changed yet again.
90% of the Dutchmen think Trump is quite strange.
Yeah.
They think Republicans are also quite strange, and that Americans are very Puritan.
This might just be me, but I do feel like the image of Americans has deteriorated a little bit over the last.
Do you guys think I'm a bit strange? Let me know. Down below, hit like, hit subscribe if you haven't done so already. Go check out some of my other videos. Yeah, just let me know. Am I strange? Maybe I'm not. I don't know.
That might come down to the government that's currently in power. It might come down to social media. This is a very complex thing, so I can't point to a single reason, but it's definitely a feeling that's there. Now, on a personal level, before I realized that this was going on, I was kind of unintentionally overcompensating. I felt like I needed to show that I wasn't the out-of-touch American in Europe. And the same thing happened to me in Argentina, where I was speaking with as much slang as I possibly could that I picked up over there, even when it was just way too much, and it was inappropriate. Que zarpado, boludo, está re piola, vive, mal. Why was I acting like that? Was there a deeper need within me to be accepted by the people that I am surrounded by? To me, it's a little bit cringy to behave that way, because it's overcompensating for something, which in this case was the identity that people were associating with me, whatever it was.
I mean, at least he's aware, though. He's aware that he was being that way. He's learned, right? He's trying to improve.
Out of touch, stupid American, whatever it might be. But that's actually a me problem, not a problem with the world. I've come to realize that people can think whatever they want about you. It doesn't change who you are. If people see me as yet another dumb American, it doesn't mean that's true. And also, it doesn't mean all Americans are that way. I think we all know this. We all know that individuals don't necessarily follow the stereotypes. But it's also how people operate in a world of 8 billion people. I can't blame people for having formulated an idea about the place that I'm from, considering how much culture is exported from that place. A part of me used to try to distance myself as much as possible from anything and everything American. But the truth is that at least some part of me, some piece of me, has been influenced by my upbringing there. There are a lot of things I don't like, but there are some things that I do. If genuinely being very enthusiastically excited about simple things is the dumb American thing to do, then fine, maybe I'm a dumb American sometimes, because that is something that comes naturally to me. I would rather be myself and accept the consequences than try to be someone that I'm not. And you know what? Everyone wants to feel welcome wherever they are, and especially in their home. But the reality is that that's actually a luxury, not a given. So many immigrants in the United States were never made to feel that way, despite the fact that the country benefited tremendously from all the immigration, all the people that risked their lives to go build something over there. Honestly,
Very true.
I don't have it that bad. Who am I kidding? I don't have it bad at all. It could be so much worse, and oftentimes it is. Exploring this topic has really given me quite a bit of empathy for the immigrants that are very poorly received all around the world. So, what do you think about everything I just shared here? What is your perception of Americans or of Europeans towards Americans? I would be curious to hear, because this is a giant open-ended topic, and I invite all different opinions and perspectives on this. It's just something I love to explore. Also,
Very
apologies to all Latin Americans and Canadians who are Americans in their own right. I have decided to use that word in this video because there isn't really another word that has been widely adopted to still speak of the people of the United States. So I just used it for simplicity, and I hope that you can forgive me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see all of you very soon.
Oh, was that him as a kid? Alright, guys.
Thank you so much for watching.
Whoops. Alright, so that was very cool. Let me know, what do you think about Americans? Do you think the same thing about me as you do regular Americans, or is it different now that you've seen like my channel and stuff like that? I don't know. And again, if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and do that. You guys have a super fun, awesome day. I'll catch you in the next one. Alright, take care. Bye.